Hello, it is I, Phenomenon, and if you have seen the title of this video, then you know what we're talking about. Guides suck, and you should probably not use them. Joking, obviously, but guides actually hinder your progress, and I'm going to explain to you how to fix that problem, why it happens, and how to use them better in the future. So let's get started, right? Before we continue with this video, I need to inform you that this video is sponsored by Rachel. I'm just kidding. But no, really, I need your attention for a little bit. Do you see this guy? Yeah, his name is Fifth? I'm actually not too sure. But he is South African. And you know what South Africans don't have that you do? Servers on which to play their favorite fighting games. So I need to introduce you to him and his awesome Twitch channel, as well as the South African Discord and WhatsApp for fighting games. Because when you don't have servers, a strong community like that is the way to play. So hey, if you live anywhere near Africa, or well, you need someone to play with that you don't have a horrible connection with, they are the guys to go. Their community is pretty lovely. I have in fact was invited to one of their exhibition matches and I had a blast. They're really chill, they're awesome guys. Feel free to join one of their weeklies, just watch along, have a great time. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Now, let's continue on to the video. So, time to bother you with some simple math, and we're going to talk about exponents. And, or rather explanation. And when I was learning this stuff in school, the only thing that they told us are these four simple rules that you see. So the basics is that 3 to the third is basically multiplying 3 times, which would equal 27. If any number to the power of the first, well, is the same number. Any number to the zeroth equals 1, and any number to the negative of something results a fraction that looks something like this. Now, with all that information, I want you to solve this very simple equation. Did you get 16? If you got 16, that is the correct answer. But what I want to ask you here is, how did you reach that result? You know? And if you were anything like me back then, it would have showed me, you know, the chain of logic of you applying these rules that I just showed you, which resulted in this, well, correct answer. But you have no idea why this thing works, right? You just have no clue. So here I'm going to present to you a simple table. And let's start with something simple. So we know that 2 to the first equals 2. We know that 2 to the second will equal 4, right? Let's go on. 8, 16, 32, 64. Now, do you notice anything when you see those numbers? Every following number is actually multiplied by 2, right? So 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, 4 multiplied by 2 is 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on and so on. But what is 2 by the power of 0 then? What is 2 to the 0th? Well, let's go back. Let's go back. See, 64, if we go down, if we divide it by 2, it becomes 32, right? If we divide that by 2, it becomes 16. Divided by 2, 8. Divided by 2, 4. Divided by 2, 2. What comes next? Well, 1, right? 2 divided by 2 is 1. Makes sense. Then what is the negative? Obviously, 1 divided by 2 is 1 second? I don't know. Don't ask me, English is not my main language. But you get the point, right? It's so much obvious now. And this is the difference between knowing something and understanding something. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So a very practical example of this sort of thing happening in fighting games is, if you watch a Testament guide or a matchup guide, they'll probably have told you that, hey, 2K and 6P are really good buttons against Soul, for example. And you go into a game and this sort of thing will happen, right? You just kind of do them. And they work fine. No? They just work absolutely fine. No problem at all. But The solo player doesn't do that, and he does this, right? Or he just does this, you know. Ooh, let's go. There we go. So you just now we fall into a situation where what the fuck am I doing here if my buttons don't work, you know? How do I stop this? You know, the solution that I was given no longer works. And you're going to have to figure something out. And if you can't, well, you're going to get wrecked by that solo player. The thing is, if I don't follow the guide, I just come around and I start playing my character and I start messing around, seeing their buttons, I'm going to kind of realize that, hey, look, this button has this and this property, like, this reaches very far. Wow, and it's also kind of fast. This also reaches very fast, very far, and it's pretty fast, you know? Oh, look at this beautiful wall, right? And when I'm thinking about Soul, I know that he wants to press this button, right? And I naturally come to the solution, well, maybe these moves that kinda reach very far and go under, literally, they both low profile his button, are pretty good in that situation. And I also know that, hey, if he stops doing this, and if he starts going for this option, god damn it. Let's fix that. There we go. And if he starts doing stuff like this, I have other solutions. I have other things that I can absolutely press here. Like that. Right? And all of this comes because I understand what my buttons do and I understand what applications they could possibly have. And let me give you another example. So what if I told you that 2K low profile so Bandit Revolver? Well then probably you're going to use it like this. Oops, I'm bad. And now that you have seen this situation, you know that, hey, when so does Bandit Revolver, I can low profile with 2K for a punish. I'm bad. Like this. But if you understand how 2K works as a button, if you understand how far it reaches, if you understand that it brings Testament very well to the ground, if you understand that, hey, it actually, the moment the hitboxes rises back up, you can block. If you understand these things, which happens by just playing the game and using the button and seeing how it does in action and not following these flow charts, you're going to come to the conclusions that you can also do stuff like this. Now these are just a bunch of examples of things that I understood, that seeing my buttons in action, understanding what my 2K does, I figured out that, hey, I can do that. And hey, if I do that, you know, it results in certain situations that I can follow up in certain ways. And the whole reason that why I made this video, what the thing I realized watching Baiken players play in Celestial is, you know, I'm an ex-Baiken main, I spent a lot of time with the character, I developed Baiken by myself basically. Well, my Baiken. And when I see people doing stuff, they always like do the same sort of wishy-washy things of, hey, I'm going to air dash JS in these ranges. Hey, I'm going to 2H from over here. Hey, when I do Kabari, I'm going to mix up between doing 5H and the follow-up of Kabari. And all this, you know, the problem with that when I saw it, when first it was very predictable, second it was very static, it was very robotic. You know, they were just kind of doing things. And it came to a moment that, wow, these people have probably just seen Diaphone's or mine or someone else's guide on how to play Baiken, and they did what we told them to do, right? We told them, hey, this and this is good, and that's what they're doing. And they just play it so badly. And I'm not just talking about someone who's just picked up the character, I'm talking about like level 1000, of someone who's played Baiken for quite some time by now. They make just these horrible mistakes, and they just play it in such an awful way. And it made me realize that the problem here is not that they don't know what to do, they don't know why they are doing it. They don't understand the purpose of their actions. They understand why this button is good and that button is good, and they understand why this air dash here is good and why not. And it just creates this weird situation where, you know, they're just playing themselves at that point. You know, they're just losing to themselves. They're losing because they find themselves in unfamiliar situations, or they just force themselves to fall chart because they don't know any other way, and they lose. And that's why I think if you're picking up a character or a game or whatever, just don't go to guides immediately. You know, boot up training mode, try to figure some things out. You know, mess around, then go online, then play, you know, and then go to a guide. You know, see if there is something that you missed, if there's something that you didn't immediately figure out, and then when they tell you that, hey, 2K wall profiles, you know, this, and you are like, oh wait, 2K has such and such properties, right? Because I played with 2K, you know, it's kind of fast, it has good reach, it does this and that, but it can wall profile, huh? And you start messing around with it. And now with this new information, you know, this new understanding that, hey, 2K wall profiles, because it's not just knowledge, you know, it's an understanding. At that point, when you go into the game, you're going to start finding these things that I just showed, you know, you're going to be doing these things, you're going to be looking for places where you can use that information. In the same way, you know, if I figure out that, hey, Fares is a really good button, but I just cannot convert off of it. You know, when you try whatever, but it just doesn't work. And maybe you figure out, hey, Arbiter works, and you just do Arbiter, right? That's your thing. When someone comes and tells you that, hey, did you know that you can combo 2H from Fares, and that's actually a really big combo because you can do 2-6H after that, then you're like, huh, that makes Fares a lot better as a button, because, you know, it has these good properties, and now I understand that it actually has damage too, you know, now I know that. And you start figuring these things out, right? What I'm trying to say here is that if you don't want to fall short, if you don't want to be basic, if you don't want to be stuck in a mindset, if you want to be outside of the box, and if you want to fully experience and own your character, then do not follow guides. Just play the game and figure things out on your own. Yes, it can be a little bit tough. Yes, it takes a lot of time, but it's insanely rewarding, and I guarantee you when someone sees you play your character, they are going to know, oh, that's him. That's the person that plays, you know, that I've seen play, you know, that's that soul, that's that Baiken, that's that Milia, you know. When they see your playstyle, they are going to know who you are. By the simple fact that you're going to be different, because you're going to have flow. You understand your options better, you're going to be doing stuff that they haven't seen before, right? You're going to be doing stuff that no one knows exists, because you spend the time to learn something. And the thing about player expression is that it doesn't come from options. It doesn't matter how many options you have. What matters is how you think about the game and how you understand the game. And when you understand your character's tools, then you're going to fulfill different goals, because everyone has different goals. You're going to fulfill your goals with your tools, and you're going to do it in a completely unique way, because, you know, you are trying to achieve a completely unique goal with a completely different understanding of how the game works. And you can also, you know what, you can also see it if you watch back the tournament. I'm going to give you a really good example here. If you watch back Arc Revo, Mochi, who lost to Nubenheimer 0-3, got absolutely destroyed, and the next time they met on the tournament, he 3-0'd him back. Utter domination, didn't give him a chance to breathe. And that's another example of he just ran into a wall, right? He didn't know what's going on. A little bit. But because he understands his character, because he understands his buttons, because he understands what he's doing, he knows what he wants to achieve, what his goals are, then he just looked at Nubenheimer and is like, you know, I figured you out, and I'm going to show you, you know, what I figured out. And he starts pressing buttons, and he starts absolutely dominating one of his worst matchups. Because he understands what his weapons do and he knows how to achieve the goal that he's desiring, right? And if you look at him just play, no one plays So like Mochi does. When you see Mochi So, you know it's Mochi So. You see the air dashes, the bandit bringers, you see all the cheeky little movement that he does, Because Mochi doesn't watch guides, at least not like you do. Mochi goes in, he plays the game, and he figures out, hey, this button does this, hey, maybe I can do that, Oh, look, Bandit Revolver can be used to bait some maneuvers. Oh, then I can create this mind game and that mind game, And so Mochi is the fucking best So in the game, bro. And everyone knows who he is and everyone recognizes his So when he sees him. So that's what I'm trying to get here. Own your character. Just own your character. Figure stuff on your own. Save guides for later. Guides are not rules that you're supposed to follow. They don't tell you how to play the game or how you should play the game. Guides are there to just give you extra information that you just might lack, because we're not perfect, we're going to miss some things along the way. Enough rambling for now. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one, whenever that is.